All right, it looks like we are live. This is the Airsoft GI TV live show on December 8th, 2015. We've got special guest Greg Wong from PTS,
hey guys,
a.k.a.
how's it going?
Good to have you. Nice, Greg. If you guys aren't aware of him, he has a YouTube channel called Spartan117GW, which you guys should totally check out. Now, Greg, before we get into the nitty-gritty of all the guns we have here, and by the way, we are drowning in ERGs, RM4s, basically a lot of electric recoil guns, and we've
Everywhere.
got one beast in the background we're going to show you later. So we got a lot of cool guns to show you today, but the topic of our live show today is Airsoft and how it relates to social media, as well as patriotism in the sport of Airsoft. So we're going to cover that in a little bit, but first we're going to go over currently available promos and specials that we've got going on. So first and foremost of which, our Texas walk-in store, GI Tactical, located in Plano, Texas, is going to be having, well, first of all, they're going to be open every Sunday of the month in December. So if you've got some last-minute shopping, or if you still need to get some Airsoft guns, gear, products, or test out some guns before you buy them, head on down to our Airsoft GI walk-in store in Plano, Texas. Every Sunday, they're going to be open, I believe, 12 p.m. to 8 p.m. So check it out. That'll give you more time to shop and get those last-minute stuff set up under the tree. In addition, on December 19th, at our GI Tactical Texas location, again, Plano, Texas, we're going to be having a special sale. We're going to have discounts on select brands all across the store, as well as map drops on select brands, which we can't announce publicly. And we're also going to be having representatives from Elite Force there, so you can check out, some of their coolest new products, ask them questions, get a back and forth dialogue going on, and also test out the new products. So it's really cool. And if you're in the area, you should definitely stop by our Texas location for Airsoft GI on December 19th. Now, in addition, we've had a great sale this holiday season. We've been selling a lot of great stuff, and we're going to keep it going. We've got our doorbusters. They're going to be ongoing throughout the holiday season. If you just check out our shocker section, which I'm going to be pulling up in a second, that's where we're putting our ongoing doorbusters, and there's actually a countdown timer on each of these doorbusters to let you know how long those deals are going to go on. So, as you can see right here, like for example, if you wanted an AK drum mag, that's over half off. That's a SEMA 25 or a Cybergun 2500 round motorized AK drum mag. We've got the Echo One Troy MRF XAG for looks like almost $100 off.
Oh, wow, that's huge.
That's a really fun gun. And speaking of fun guns, the Echo One Spectre RDP, or the Rapid Deploy Pistol. I personally think it's great for CQB. I believe it comes with one, maybe two high-capacity mags. That's like $55 off. If you're in the market for an AK, we've got an AK Beta Spetsnaz, a P90. I'm sure P90 girl would love that. Classic Army Full Metal M14. Or if you're in the market for, let's say, a light machine gun, we've got the Classic Army Full Metal Mark 46. That looks like it's over $100 off, and even a different version, the basic M249 Mark II, which you're familiar with, Greg.
Oh, yeah.
That's almost $100 off. So
wow.
a lot of really, really cool good stuff, especially these gun setups with gun bag and BBs. So that's pretty awesome. So check out the Shocker page for our ongoing doorbusters throughout the holiday season. That'll be good for limited time as the clock countdown shows. Now, in addition to that, we've still got our Elite Force deal going on, so you can get a Full Metal Elite Force Airsoft gun for $99.99, and I'll show you those right now. It's the RSKP and the KMP Basic for $99.99. Pretty good guns for the price. I mean, you definitely get what you pay for, so you got to keep that in mind when you're looking at these guns. I mean, it's a great intro rifle for Airsoft. Let me go back here. So you can pick that up for a limited time only while supplies last. In addition to that, thousands of items have just been put back in the stock. And in all honesty, items on our website, thousands of them have been pre-marked down up to 80% off. So you're not going to have to put in a coupon code. You're not going to have to do anything else extra. You'll see the original price will be crossed out, and then the discounted price will be in red. Now, a lot of stuff to go over. So we also have a passcode giveaway for every order you make on the site. You're going to get a passcode you can put into a secondary site that will allow you to have a chance to win something like, let's say, a Crytek LMG, a light machine gun. So the more orders you make, the more chance you'll have to win. We still have global shipping going on, so if you live outside the United States, you hit that global checkout button, and we ship just about anywhere in the world except for North Korea. So
you guys ship to military bases overseas, right?
Oh, I believe so, yes. Absolutely.
I think that's great, because I remember way back in the day when you guys didn't, and I'm like, now it's like, man, all those troopers now can get airsoft guns.
Well, it's crazy, because we used to get requests to ship even airsoft GI patches to military bases. Like, we had some guy who's like, hey, I'm leaving for Afghanistan soon. Is there where you can ship there? And we're like, oh God, we don't know. So, because I mean, shipping there is pretty expensive, as you might imagine, just for anything. In addition, we still have flat rate shipping going on for $4.95 in the continental United States. Any order over $60 gets a free gift card from us to use. Yeah, I believe that is about it for our ongoing sales stuff. So make sure to check out airsoftgi.com for more info.
You guys made cups out of those?
Yeah,
what?
actually,
that's so cool. There's an ERG on here too. Yeah.
Let's see.
That's
right.
his ERG. Yeah.
Yeah. This is
that's an
this is
ERG.
D Plane. D Plane. You can find him on Instagram under D Plane. He's one of our former customer service reps. Our human resource department gives us these cool coffee mugs with just photos that our graphics department has busted on. It's
That
pretty
is cool.
awesome. Yeah.
Hey, you guys should sell those. Those are cool.
She actually asked me recently. She's like, Bob, do you fight for the rebels or the Empire? And I was like, dang it.
You're like,
Yeah.
he's the commander of the
Yeah.
rebel forces.
Yeah. Well, such
It's
is
like
life.
asking Darth Vader if he's for the rebellion.
Like, which yeah, but she's very nice, and it's really nice for her to give us those mugs. Last thing I'm going to mention before we get to today's topic is that a lot of you don't know, but we try and give back to the community a lot here at Airsoft GI. And every time the holiday season comes around, the upper echelons of Airsoft GI,
okay.
we try and take care of the needy kids in our community. We try and make sure we donate as much as we can to Toys for Tots. I mean, we always
Toys
have
for Tots, always good.
drop-in bins. I mean, the Marines are always great about that every year. And whenever there's
Army does their jump thing too for Toys
Oh,
for
really?
Tots. Yeah, you can get different jump wings like German, Canadian, French, whatever. Like
That's
they
pretty cool.
come to Fort Bragg and you donate toys and you get foreign jump wings.
That's
you have to
awesome.
jump, of course, but
Oh, really?
it's cool. Yeah.
So they offer you the opportunity to jump.
Yeah, like you show up because it's like on your off time. You go there, you bring a toy for Toys for Tots, and then you get an opportunity to go jump and get some foreign jump wings.
That's awesome.
Now, if you're at Fort Bragg, that's what you gotta do.
I might have to make a trip and bring some toys, of course. But we also sponsor the LASD, the LA Sheriff's Department Motorsports Racing Team. This is really tough to see. This is one of their officers, Scott Graham. He drives this automobile on here, and he's actually going to be out.
That's
Ironic.
a sweet ride.
I know it's
Wow.
it's their hot rod club, LASD Motorsports. Well, they're going to be working with the LAPD this weekend. We donate a lot of toys for them to give away. So it's really important to take care of the less fortunate in your community, especially during the holiday season. That being said, today's topic, again, is Airsoft and how it relates to social media, along with, the patriotic nature of our sport. And it's actually really good we've got Greg Wong on here today because before the show, we're talking about, how a lot of folks that, play Airsoft, including myself when I was getting into it, a lot of folks, feel like have the desire to want to serve their country. And, some of those get into Airsoft, before they actually join the military. Like you had actually, we talked about before, you played Airsoft before you joined.
Oh, yeah.
Tell us a little bit about your experience there.
All right, so it's kind of funny because I actually put up a video fairly recently about like, hey, so you want to join the military? And it's kind of like my post-service advice on guys who get into the sport and then want to, join the military. Because, there's some similarities. I'm not going to lie. The military does have way more. There's just a lot more BS you got to put up with. But it's, it's one of those things, you're young, you're capable, you have the ability, and, you have the time, hopefully. It's just one of those things like, I figured, I might as well do it while I'm young, get out of the way. And, 6+ years of my life gave to my country to do whatever it wanted me to do. But it was just one of those things, like I got into Airsoft because, I already had kind of like, kids grow up kind of idolizing the military. You get out there, play Airsoft, play soldier a little bit, and play all the video games and everything. And then, one day it's like, what, let's see if you want to do the real deal. And, it's not for everybody. It is not for everybody. And even for people who want to do it, which I believe is awesome because, just the fact that you want to do it is amazing. Because there's people who want to do it, but they become disqualified. Like I was almost disqualified. I almost could not join the military, but then was able to weasel my way in there, and then 6 years later, get my life back. But I think it's great when people get into it, and Airsoft definitely has that transition where kids get into it, and then next thing you know, they're at the recruiting office, and also make sure you get a good recruiter, and make sure you're getting all the information you need because. That's like the next 3, 4, 5, 6 years of your life. So choose a job you want to do. It doesn't matter if it's combat arms or combat service support. Choose something you're comfortable with. If you happen to choose something that has like civilian alternates like IT or whatever, all better for you. Or if you want to kick down doors and take out the bad guys, all for you too, because we definitely need those guys for that as well. So, yeah.
Really quick, we are watching the comments, and if you guys have any specific comments on what we're saying or the topic of the show, feel free to chime in. We'll try and get to you guys. We do see some of the comments. Someone had asked if the Airsoft Innovations impact grenade was something good to buy. I personally use them. I think they're great. They actually just came out the new version, which is a little bit more affordable. I don't know if it's as effective as the original version, but we will try and get to the comments in a second. I actually like the fact you brought up, there's some people that, are disqualified that don't have that option.
I was this, like, they were like, we're not sure if you can join. I mean, I was really skinny then too, but like I had like some health conditions. It's like, man, I really, really want to join. I mean, I didn't have anything else to do at the time. But yeah, I was able to get in, and then they let me jump out of airplanes.
Yeah,
and that was awesome.
I mean, I had a good friend of mine. I was the best man at his wedding, and he ended up, he got refused from joining the first time because he was too skinny. He was like so lightweight, and he spent most
Captain America syndrome.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, my friend Cody was
saving your life, kid. Like, no.
But yeah, I mean, bulking up for that and like your specific situation,
I never ended up really getting bulked up, even while I was in. I'm still like I got up to 130, and now I'm back at like 128.
You're 128?
Yeah,
Jeez.
Featherweight, dude.
Good Lord.
Super featherweight.
Well, it's interesting. I had tried joining the Marines a number of times, but each time I found out I was ineligible for service in any United States Armed Forces. Couldn't join the Navy, couldn't join the Army, couldn't join the Air Force, couldn't join the Coast Guard. But, I had a lot of friends that had similar issues as mine, which was, asthma and inhalers. And one of those guys,
asthma.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense why you can't join. He got a waiver because his disappeared. He ended up going to West Point along with his brother, so it worked out.
If you're epileptic, too, that's a problem.
Yes, epilepsy will just knock you right out. And it makes sense because you don't want to, like, if you're going to be an officer, if you're going to be enlisted, if you're going to be a warrant officer, you don't want to put, other team members in the line of fire just because you have a medical issue.
You also don't want to be holding a weapon when you have like one of those episodes.
Oh yeah, epilepsy.
That's bad.
Well, look, I mean, just to bring it back to the topic, there is a really strong patriotic current in the airsoft community. I mean, everyone who plays generally loves the country, loves the military. A lot of folks want to serve. What's up?
The guy's like, hey, the Ford is front. I guess he's talking about the rail system that he got. He's like, helped out a lot. I'm like, cool.
Oh, nice. That's awesome. Yeah, I remember Copperhead. That was a really fun game.
Oh, yeah. If you want to get free college, the Army's how you get free college.
Oh, there's Asteroid Gaming is saying I'm joining the British military, which is awesome. That is a damn fine military. Damn fine. And yeah, the GI Bill is actually a great way. I mean, there are a lot of folks I've known that have used their Montgomery GI Bill to further their education, either when they get out or as they're going along.
It's also a really great way to transition because, I mean, it like keeps you alive because you're not working. So like you get money for it to go to school and for housing and stuff like that. And people have more than earned it, especially if they've been to combat. So yeah, that's a whole interesting topic in itself.
GooMG, Bob, do you ever check your Facebook messages? I do. I don't get to do it as much as I want because I have so many different things I do have to take care of here. I honestly, I feel like a butthead saying this, but I do get a lot of Facebook messages, and it's really hard to check through and respond to them all. So I'm sure you had already sent one a while back, and I'm sincerely sorry I haven't been able to get to it yet. I will try and do that this week, is go through more of them when I have time. But there's something interesting that, around patriotism, airsoft, and social media that, I've noticed over the past few years, and, you and I have talked about a little bit, is that, on some social media services, they kind of clamp down on, anything related to...
gun culture?
Yeah, anything gun culture. And, in America, guns are part of our culture ever since the founding of the country. And it's just interesting to see and frustrating that, I mean, we've built up a very big social media following, and...
I think that's one thing that GI has done well over the years, all the way back, like, since the beginning. I mean, like, you guys, like, literally kind of basically paved the way for everyone else using social media as a viable platform to support the sport and to support the industry. I mean, it was you guys just knocking it out of the park. I mean, like, literally, the live show is probably one of the things that basically helped create the TVB series and like how successful that was, and BB Wars and stuff like that. So it's very interesting to see how that's really supported, but it sucks that some social media platforms do kind of cramp down on it. Thankfully, like Instagram, like, I mean, for you guys that kind of admin pages yourselves or whatever, you might see it too. But like for example, right, you post something on Instagram, gets 1,000, 2,000 likes, a couple hundred likes, you know, all based on how big your following is. You post something on Facebook, and then depending on what content you have on there, and especially if it's gun-related content, which is almost always is for people like you and me, then you really start to see the varying levels. Like, why is it not getting the amount of traction it is? So it's just, you know, I mean, if Facebook has the technology to recognize your face, then obviously they have the technology to recognize what a basic firearm looks like in the picture or whatever. And then you generally see that content doesn't get the same exposure. So that's always been kind of interesting. Kind of sucks because Facebook is an awesome platform that is used for a lot of great things, but it's kind of sucks that they've kind of like given us the black eye.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's like they're, you know, it's their decision to decide what, you know, through their algorithm, what gets shared out, and they're basically, you know, taking us out, and I don't want to say discriminating against, but they're basically, you know, picking on us and making sure our stuff doesn't get out there, which is very frustrating.
They're being biased.
Thank you. That's actually a better way of saying it. Yeah.
And, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and, you know, it is a captive audience because, you know, you know, it is a privilege to be on Facebook, but it's not that, like, we have a right to, like, put stuff everywhere.
It's still, well, it is, I guess it is, yeah, it's a publicly traded company, but it's just like one of those things where it's like it's a company, so they still can kind of do whatever they want, so.
But it's interesting, like, you know, as we discussed, like, Instagram is, you know, huge, and,
Didn't they buy Instagram, though?
you know, I'm not sure. I'd heard Instagram had been purchased, but I don't know who by. So maybe like Google or whatnot. But
I thought it was Facebook that bought Instagram.
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure it was Facebook that bought it. But I mean, I don't think the algorithms for like, you know, I mean, the algorithms are different for the website because Instagram's purely visual based, and Instagram's really more based on like hashtags and stuff like that, just picture content. As Facebook, well, hashtags are important, but Facebook is the algorithms and like what. I mean, the site's is a completely different site. It's not necessarily just solely picture-based. So,
but it's crazy how like guns on Instagram, like you know,
really
firearms
well.
or airsoft guns, like it does crazy well.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
you'll see the numbers. You'll see the numbers.
No, it's amazing. It's interesting how different Instagram is versus Facebook. I mean, we haven't seen like serious issues with, you know, Twitter and YouTube. Like YouTube's been great for you know, for guns, airsoft. Yeah, but I think mainly like the biggest, you know, I guess like knockdown is Facebook, and I think it's really, you know, frustrating because, you know, being an American, you know, both of us, like, it's like guns are part of our culture, whether you want to like.
They should be,
yeah,
if they're not already.
I mean, whether you like or not, airsoft doesn't really promote violence. I mean, neither does paintball. It's more of like promoting, you know, honor, team building, and it's, you know, it's a great way to meet new people.
It's a sport, and it's a you know, something a pastime, I guess you could say, and it's cool because it's a almost like a subculture or a subsection of like the larger gun industry. So it's in relation to, but it does have its own identity. You know, being a sport and being, you know, something that people can enjoy. No one gets hurt. We all laugh. We have fun. You know, we're like, I got you, or you got me, and this and the other. Have great stories and great adventures. That's really what the sport's about.
Yeah, and I mean, there's just so much fun to be had, and like a lot of people, like for me, when I first got into airsoft and paintball for that matter, you know, I was very shy, didn't have a lot of friends that played, and just, I mean, it's amazing the bonds that you can create with people that you know, didn't know beforehand. Like, I mean, for example, Tim, like I met him just randomly, like going to an airsoft field, and we've been friends to this day. So I mean, it's interesting that, like, you know, you can have a sport that promotes such, you know, teamwork, honor, respect, fair play, and yet have it like knocked down so much in the public arena. And I mean, it's weird because it goes back to like when we were kids, like, you know, playing cops and robbers, cowboys and Indians.
It was funny, you know what? When I remember growing up, I remember in elementary school, they told us we couldn't play like Star Wars themed cops and robbers kind of games. They're like, you can't do that. Like, and that was as far back as then. So I was like, wow. So I can't like pretend to be a stormtrooper fighting some rebels.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's
I was like, wow.
You heard about that kid that like bit his Pop-Tart into a gun and he got like expelled. Did you ever hear about
really?
that? Yeah, like he's like a 6-year-old, like 10-year-old kid. Yeah. So, but let's see. Let's actually start taking some questions here. Bob, I'm starting to play. What's a good starter gun? I know Greg's going to have some thoughts on the matter. Yeah. You know, there are a lot of different guns you can get out there and play with. I would suggest, like, if you have the money, I would highly suggest our G4 line of airsoft guns. I mean, you can start off with a custom gun that performs well right out of the box. If you can afford an FMG4, the internals on those are great. G&G combat machines. If you can get an ERG for your first gun, that might be pretty nice, but it's going to be the most affordable option right off the back, but you're gonna have a lot of fun.
Well, actually, right off the bat.
Speaking of that, we got some stuff to show you.
So this is actually this is GI's PTS ERG. They actually have a KWA one in here as well. But I'll grab that in a second. So that's what a decked out ERG looks like. This is what the currently available PTS ERG CQBs, which are available on GI and GI Tactical. The price dropped a lot. These were going for $370. Now it's flat $299. So it's like, basically it's a huge price drop, super affordable. So if you're wanting, it's a little bit up there for your first gun. But to be honest, my first gun was a Classic Army M15A4 CQB. And at the time when that came out, that was like a $400 gun. That was my first gun, and I still have that gun.
No, well played.
But it depends. Like if you're really wanting to invest in something that is just gonna rock and just gonna straight up, just gonna be awesome, the ERG is a nice platform. It's solid. It's super satisfying to use. And it's extremely well built, and the recoil system on there is second to none. It's absolutely amazing, and the fact that this is $300, before I even started working for PTS, that's a killer price. That's nuts.
Well, yeah, originally being around $370, $380. That's a huge price drop.
Yeah.
And for those of you that aren't aware, that don't know, especially for folks who are just getting into airsoft, the ERG stands for electric recoil gun. You essentially have in airsoft generally a choice between an AEG, an airsoft electric gun, or a gas blowback rifle, which provides a lot of blowback generally. However, the ERGs are kind of the middle ground. You have an AEG, but you have a sincerely awesome amount of blowback. Maybe not the exact amount of a gas blowback rifle, but it is so much fun that if you can afford one, I would highly suggest getting into it, especially for the realism.
And it's cool. You guys actually have two up here now. So you have the PTS one. This is one all dressed up, and this is a KWA one that's all dressed up. And what's great too is the mags. And I was just at KWA literally a couple hours ago, and we did all kinds of stuff. We swapped the uppers and everything. Everything's cross compatible. Their mags are compatible and everything like that. So the ERG as a platform, whether it's the KWA version or whether it's the PTS version or something in between, or you put together whatnot, really solid platform. It's a lot of fun. That's probably why it's been my mainstay the last few years, just because it's so much fun to use. There's a lot of platforms for me to choose from, but that one's my rock steady.
Rocksteady.
Yeah.
And Bebop.
Rocksteady.
Greg, when will Greg, when will PTS release the CQB and DMR barrels for the gas pullback Masada?
There's still a tentative date for that. Hopefully we'll have a clear answer by SHOT Show. I have to look at the catalogs. I was actually looking at the 2016 catalog again, but there's definitely some good stuff in there you're gonna like. Oh, forgot to mention, for gas blowback users, this is coming soon. I know you're a big gas blowback guy.
Yeah.
So we had the Raptor charging handle, which was great, but this is actually something a little simpler. It's the Mega Arms slide lock. So what's cool about this is you don't actually have a mechanism that you have to actuate first before pulling it. You just pull it.
That's nice.
So it's nice and simple. This will be out for Sistema, VFC, GMP, and KWA. This one's a KWA and a Mega. So that's a nice little gas blowback option. But a lot of cool stuff coming up for SHOT Show. I think if there was anything else.
Can you have that PDR?
Yeah.
This is one of my favorite guns from.
It's such a cool space gun. Yeah.
Yeah. It almost reminds me of Halo a little bit.
Oh yeah, that's one of the reasons why I love it. And
you're not a big fan of Halo, so
I love Halo.
Yeah.
Oh, that's wonder why my name's Spartan. But this is a really cool platform. It's compact. I think that there's still an ERG version in the works, which that would be awesome. That would be super legit. But as you can see, this one's decked out. It's got the Mark 18 can on here. It's got obviously the extension piece for extended battery. One thing I want to highlight on here is that because the standard version was so slick, it didn't have any side rails or anything, right? You just had the one top rail. So you can either have the optic or whatever, or the cool carry handle. We actually took the FPG carry handle as its own separate product now.
Really?
Yeah, it's called the polymer carry handle. So you can actually buy that separately, put it on SMGs or whatever now. But what I did is I took the Unity Tactical Fusion, which normally has a sight on it, but I could take it off. It's basically a Lego light mount. And I put it on here because it gives me a way to actually put something directly like mount it like 90 degrees on the side. So even though I don't have a built-in rail system on the side, now I can mount the light right where I need to on the PDR, which is really cool.
Yeah, for those who are not familiar with the Unity Fusion mount, for me is really interesting is that you literally have so many options to put mounts in this thing. I mean, there are a lot of different mounts that come with this. Like, as you can see, you have the 90-degree mount. You can have a 45-degree canted mount.
You can have forward extension,
yeah,
a
it's
1-inch ring mount.
really forward, like out here. So
like,
I mean,
you can do all kinds of stuff with that. Like, people who are really into like their Surefire lights and their D-balls and all their crazy little optics and trying to find a way to have a compact mount, that thing is like the answer. And that's like the simplest setup I have. Like, I have setups where it's like you have the sight on there, you have the forward extension or the offset extension, the offset wing. It's pretty cool. It's one of those things when you see all the pieces and you start seeing them come together, you're like, wow, that's like awesome.
No, this feels really cool. This must be a lot of fun to use. And actually you have. I see one of the chrono tags here.
Yeah, I actually had this Chronotech game pod, which I just went there recently, and it was awesome.
Yes, that is. If you ever get a chance to make it a game pod in Northern California, I would highly suggest that. This is another cool PTS product.
This one's actually like perfect size for you. So we actually introduced these a while ago, the medium-sized plates, but now we have the large. We're also coming out with the small. So these basically are like inserts and stuff like that, more or less your foam training plate. So basically it's something for you to put in your vest. What I like about it is it has a nice like nylon, basically, fabric, basically lining and stuff. So it's nice, it's clean, it's simple, gives you something to put into the vest to fill up some space. Obviously, if you're running real sappies, then you're running real sappies. But if you just want something to fill in your vest so you run around the field and you don't have this floppy molly plate carrier, a plate carrier not carrying plates of some kind, then this is actually a really nice solution. Like I said, we got medium and large available now, and we should be having small soon. And of course, GI carries them, so you can check out the mount on their website.
Absolutely. No, I would agree with Greg. It's always great to fill out a plate carrier with something in the inside.
This feels better.
Yeah,
Cool.
it does feel cooler.
I should tell you about this.
Yes, and really quick, we're going to get some questions right after this, because I thought this product was really great, but we are going to answer some questions soon. So tell them what this is. I think it's really cool.
Okay, so this is your enhanced polymer magazine, but I wonder if you can see it. I did some own personal modifications to it. I'm trying to... So as you can see, the spring is actually painted. So originally the spring is silver, and in fact, originally this whole window is covered with fake bullets. And I was like, okay, that's cool, but it doesn't really do anything. I mean, it was great that when you filled up the mag, that you could see the indicator at the bottom. It's like, awesome, that's one of the best features of the EPM. But then it was like, once you start shooting, then do you have a visual way to kind of see where you're at in between? In which there wasn't, because the fake bullets were there and covering the spring. So at first I took out the fake bullets, and I was like, okay, I can see the spring. I can kind of guesstimate based on the amount of compression. But then I was like, well, real PMags color certain sections of the spring, so you can have a for sure way of seeing how much ammo you have. So what I did is I basically I colored just enough of it so that when I'm fully out of ammo, this whole window becomes orange. So like the spring fully uncompresses to the point where the whole window's orange. So I can literally look at a mag and be like, that ammo is black. This mag is black on ammo. Like, this mag is good. So it's much more functional and for an already great mag, which the price did drop. So these things are only $19.95 now. Originally they were $25, but now they're like drop $5. So
no, I think
it's more affordable.
That's a really cool mod to be able to like be shooting your airsoft gun and then just like drop it to the side just to see the color and to be able to see how black you are in ammo.
I mean, the T mags were pretty great too, with kind of the like clear kind of DuPont polymer, which you can see through. Obviously, these aren't the T mags. We're thinking about actually making a clear version of these as well. But for the realism, this is great because I mean that's pretty much what you look for in a real magazine too, is the compression of the spring on a P mag. So I thought it was a great little mod. It was just something I came up with, and I was like, wow, how come we didn't do this? This is awesome. So the Gen 2 EPMs more than likely will probably have that feature right out of the gate.
All right, really quick, just to go over comments, I want to take note of, I believe it's Slap Shots Whore or Slap Shot Shore, probably the first one, says, Greg is my senpai. I believe he's trying to get you to notice him.
Oh, you haven't noticed.
Yeah. All right, so from Jeremy Carroll, how's the Elite Force 1911 TAC, and would you recommend it?
That gun's a lot of fun.
Yes, I would totally echo Greg's sentiments. I personally totally recommend it. I use mine a lot. The only issue that I would say that you should be aware of is the fact that it does shoot over 350 feet per second out of the box. So
it's a hard hitter. It's a hard hitter.
It's a hard hitter. It's got a lot of kick, which is, for me, a lot of the fun.
That's like the best reason to get it. Yeah.
So yeah, just be aware of that. It shoots over 350 feet per second because if you play at a lot of, if your only options are indoor fields where the limit is 350, you're probably not going to be able to use it. However, at outdoor fields or fields with a 400 feet per second limit, it's a great pistol. Yeah.
Benefits are CO2 is really cheap, obviously really fun to shoot. Make sure, because you're using CO2, it doesn't have any lubrication, so you disassemble it, take the slide off and pull back the nozzle and I can't remember if it's nozzle, but there's a certain piece you got to pull back and you got to just put some little silicone in there and it'll keep it alive otherwise. Because there's a couple other YouTubers out there who've ran through so many of them because they didn't take care of them. So, as long as you're taking care of that gun, it should last. And CO2 is cheap, so you'll be in the game for a long time.
Mm-hmm. Very, very easily get just about anywhere in the country. Marcus Does Everything what is the reason I have a red dot and a laser?
Okay. So those are, kind of like, actually, where's my PDR setup? Because it actually has, this kind of setup. So this is an interesting setup because with the optic, right, you have your cheek weld and everything like that, and this is traditionally what you use. What's nice is if you have a D-balls, it has a visible and IR laser. Now, I'm not going to lie, a visible laser can and most likely will give you away. But it's a really quick, if you're not really sighting in and just doing point shooting, much like people use a flashlight, it gives you a visual reference of where your natural point, where your point of aim is. Some guys like using visual lasers. For Airsoft, because we can actually see our projectiles, white lighting is really popular, but it's kind of the same thing, although the laser, if you've zeroed it properly to about the right range with your red dot and have your red dot on top of that zeroed to your sights if you have sights, so everything's perfectly zeroed, great way to have another way to visually reference. And if you have night vision on, your IR laser basically gives you a way to point because it's really hard to, you can't really look through optics with night vision on. So that gives you another way to aim and manipulate the gun and make sure you're putting your shots on target.
Well, most people don't have the opportunity to use night vision and airsoft. However, there are those few individuals that can have a lot of fun doing that.
Milsim West games, you'll see a lot on odds.
Also, something that's very useful for lasers in particular is that without even shooting, lasers can provide a fair amount of cover. Because if you're aiming a laser at a door or window that an enemy's in, they're not. There's.
It gives psychological suppression.
Exactly. Thank you. That was what I was looking for. I definitely noticed that at our zombie game when I was playing at a zombie. If there'd be a flashlight or laser pointed at the window I was next to, I would generally not stick my head out, or I would generally try and hide a little bit more. So
it's a give and take double-edged sword because the enemy will know where you're at, but if you have the advantage, you can pin them down. Mm-hmm. And like I said, it gives you a good reference point of where you're aiming. Mm-hmm.
Whew, that is a tough one. Someone's asking, what is your favorite pistol of all time?
I don't know. I would still
That's a tough one.
The Elite Force one's a lot of fun, but then there's some really nice exotic pistols too as well. The way, just purely on looks, I love the way the FNX looks. But it's not the best performing out of the bunch, but it looks really cool.
I think my favorite airsoft pistol of all time would probably be the 1911 Mark series from KWA. I just have had so much fun with them.
A lot of history with it.
Yeah, a lot of history. My current favorite pistol is a KWA HK45, just because it holds an incredibly large amount of ammo and it's very comfortable. But favorite pistol all time.
How much ammo does the thing have?
I think it's 28 rounds.
Wow, you're going to be in the fight for a long time.
Yes, you will be.
Yeah, that's a very good secondary to have, especially the ammo capacity.
Okay, so Jean Baptista, Bob, is some of your dignity still for sale? Appreciate you asking. We are sold out of my dignity. We ran out of it quite a long time ago. I haven't seen any of it since. If you do happen to find any, I could use some back, in all honesty.
Oh, I do have a cool announcement. One of the games that's happening this weekend in SoCal, down at Mr. Paintball, sponsored by the Team Therapist, where it's hosted by Team Therapist. It's also sponsored by GI, and it's actually also sponsored by PTS. The BL Tech guys. If you guys know about BL Tech, then you know this is probably one of the most anticipated pieces of airsoft technology in the last few years.
Mm-hmm.
They've spent a lot of time, money, and energy on the BL Tech, and everyone's asking when it's going to come out. Well, you know what? Both he and I were actually able to get in touch with them, and they are coming to the U.S. this week, and they will be at the Mr. Paintball Team Therapist Christmas game. So basically, you're going to have a bunch of guys running around that field with the actual BL Tech I think it's the production model noisemakers. I should be having one on one of my guns. But yeah, that thing is legit. It is super cool. Like, this is the thing that people have been waiting for. It's gonna sound awesome because it's gonna be, you're gonna be at a regular airsoft game, but you're just gonna hear this firing going off. Yeah, it's gonna be crazy. So BL Tech will be in town. I'll be taking them around town. We'll be going that field. I think that game is on 13th on Sunday, and I think we might be hitting up Code Red on Saturday. So
yeah, I mean,
if it's perfect for outdoors too.
Oh yeah, I mean, if you can't do blank fire, this is going to be the next most awesome option.
This is a really great way to kind of bring that extra level of immersion. If we have a chance to, we'll try to hit some of the CQB fields during the weekdays at night. If they have time, I'll see if they can come by the live show next Tuesday. But yeah, this upcoming to the weekend, and then just after the weekend is just going to be nonstop crazy airsoft nonsense. Because this is I'm not saying it's like airsoft history, but this is like the first time they've come to the States. The first time the units are actually sitting on my desk right now. But I'm waiting for them to come over and put it together. But this will be the first time they're used in the States, so everyone's going to be watching.
Yeah, no, that's.
And if you want to check it out in person, you should be so lucky because they are
head
awesome.
out to the Team Therapist game if you can make it.
BL Tech will be in town.
No, I'm really excited to meet those gentlemen. They've been very nice to converse with, and they just seem like great folks.
They're really nice guys, and they actually took one of the ERG scouts and put the BL Tech on it. So it's like you have the recoil, and then you have the sound, and apparently the device actually does generate a little bit of recoil too. So it's like, it's super awesome because it's like explosive. So it's like you can just be pop, 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 pop. So it's gonna be great.
I'll be honest, Greg. Like, if I had one of those, I would carry so many high caps.
Oh my god!
And even if I just see someone a quarter mile away, I'm gonna unload an entire high cap just for fun.
It'll get people's heads down, and it's cool. It's propane based, so a lot of people were trying to figure out what it uses. It's propane based, so and you'll get quite a few shots out of one fill of propane. So super awesome piece of technology. So if you are going to the airsoft fields this weekend and you live in SoCal and you're not at that game, you go and be missing out, son. And then we'll be at Code Red also on Saturday. So that'll be cool. So if you're going to outdoor fields, which is kind of what it's designed for, but hey, indoors it sounds pretty awesome too.
Yeah, no, they had mentioned through our correspondence that they were working on firing modes where they can switch it from let's say 1 to 5, 5 being the loudest, 1 being the somewhat quietest, so that you can use it indoor without everyone requiring ear protection.
Yeah, without messing up your ears. But I'm really excited because I want to see what the applications for training for that are.
Yeah.
Because that's cool. Because a lot of people say, with airsoft, you get the projectiles, you get some of the weapons manipulation, but you don't get the sound. And with blanks, you get some of the weapons manipulation, you get the sound, but none of the projectiles. And projectiles are probably the most important piece, followed by weapons manipulation, and then followed by sound. So you kind of get all three of them. And now it's now you really don't need blanks. The only thing better is sims, but even sims or UTMs don't quite have the same sound. So this is going to be next level stuff.
Yeah, and simunition rounds do tend to jam up a lot depending on heat and use. No, they are not accurate.
UTM's different story, but because I actually did active shooter training with SWAT.
I saw that,
yeah, North County SWAT. Actually, I had an AK-47 upper on an M4 using 9mm sims, and it was crazy because during one of the scenarios, they were clearing rooms, and the SWAT guy came to the room, but they had already seen another active shooter, so they stopped. They were just blocking the doorways to let the stack go by, and so it's a dirty clear. I was hiding behind the door, CQB 101, see if they check behind the door. No one checked behind the door, so I came out, and I came face to face with the SWAT team leader, and he's like, I don't know if it was a SIG 226 or something like that, or a Glock or whatever. He's like, you gotta be kidding me. The whole stack, all his dudes, totally passed me. SWAT team leader, all he has is his pistols. I just caught him at the right time or the wrong time because we both died. But he was just checking the 6 or something, where he just happened to be walking back, and I saw him. At first, I was kind of confused. I was like, is he still in? Oh, okay, he's still in. And I engaged him at point blank with this AK. It's like that, and I hit him in his hand, his arm, and everything. He hit me kind of diagonally in roughly the same spot. But it was so funny because during the briefing, they're like, "Who was that one guy?" It was like, "It was me," and they're like, and it was just funny because he was so upset that his guys just completely just missed the guy, and if he was not there, I could have came out and killed the whole like team.
And that's what that training is there
yeah,
for.
and
I mean,
you know, it's designed to induce stress. And it was funny because once they took all their gas masks off, so I was like, man, they're like the same age as me or younger.
oh wow.
You know, SWAT guys. You know.
I think it's interesting because when I joined my first Airsoft team, which I'm still a part of, that was, and a lot of them are current or former military, including one drill sergeant in the Army. They kind of, well, it's kind of funny I just said that. They drilled it into me like, look, you know, when you play CQB, you check your corners. Mm-hmm. And one of the first things we did is like we would clear rooms at the old Tax City location, which is not there anymore. And I go by a hay bale, and I think I cleared it, but I didn't clear it all the way. And I walk by.
Yeah, you have a little bit of dead space.
Yeah, and then they had a tiny guy in there.
In case you guys don't know what dead space is basically something you cannot see behind, or it's a corner's too deep or something like that. I did a CQB class with Tyler Gray, who is one of the Delta guys who did Medal of Honor Warfighter, was the game he advised on. And he's been doing a lot of military games since then, including Call of Duty and something else. But he was the guy who taught me. He taught a lot of the guys at PTS, and he teaches a lot of the best shooters in LA and in the shooting industry. His stuff is on point, and it's funny because yeah, you have to really work those corners because it's really easy to get sucked in the middle. And I'm not going to lie, in Airsoft, everyone gets sucked into the middle. Where something's like, you're supposed to be looking here, but you see movement there, so automatically you start transitioning over there. But of course, I mean, it's one of those things, too, where you described to me, once you get really good, it's like the Matrix. Once you get really good, you can start bending the spoon and bending the rules. But I'm talking like his level, like bending the Matrix. Like me, it's like a noob in the Matrix. Like, shouldn't be bending the rules, but do anyways out of pure nature sometimes. But that's just one of the interesting things about CQB. Yeah.
Well, I want to bring it back just for a second because we only have a few more minutes remaining. Just as far as the topic of the live show, Airsoft Patriotism, social media, there's one thing that, for those of you that have stuck around to the end of our show, that I want to make you aware of and just kind of open your eyes a little bit too, is the fact that, you know, recently there were the terror attacks in Paris, and, you know, I'm sure you saw on social media, a lot of folks, you know, had French flags over their profile, which is good. It's good to express, you know, support and solidarity with America's, literally our oldest ally in one of their darkest days. However, recently, you know, I'm sure a lot of you are aware, we, you know, recently had terror attacks, you know, literally just down the street from Gregory and San Bernardino.
It took them a while to even call them that, terrorist attacks.
Yeah, it did. Surprisingly, did take a little while. And interestingly enough, like, you know, even though the scale is smaller, you know, you don't see American flags on profile pics. And in fact, we've noticed on our own social media that, you know, Facebook is knocking down American flag comments. When people will post the American flag on some of our sections, Facebook will, you know, take it away, which is weird. And, you know, Greg and I were discussing whether, you know, it was being flagged by other users, but it was just really odd. We noticed it very recently that, you know, there were just whole segments where there were American flags that were just deleted, not by anyone here on our staff, but actually by Facebook administrators. And then, you know, I
wonder if they have an because Facebook's all about algorithms. It's possible because, I mean, it's pretty hard to miss, like, the way the colors are set up. Like, if you set up an algorithm to look for this, they could probably do it. I mean, like, if they could recognize your face, they could recognize what an American flag looks like.
No, I have no doubt. And the thing is here, a lot of us, you know, here, in fact, almost all of us here at Airsoft are red-blooded, you know, America-loving patriots. Yeah. And so when some of us here saw that, you know, we asked a lot of our Facebook followers to post every American flag they could find. And then once that happened, like, Facebook stopped knocking them down.
Yeah.
Like, I think there were just so many that they couldn't do anything about it. So
yeah, the people spoke.
Yeah, so I mean, just keep your eye on that. Like, it's just like let us know what you think, and see if you see that anywhere else.
It's an interesting double standard, but it's the world we live in today.
Yeah. All right. Well, we only have like 1 or 2 minutes left, so I'm sorry to switch topics so quickly, but we actually want to show you. We've got our Santa's Minigun mystery box, and with a lot of stuff coming out. Miniguns are really fun in Airsoft. I've been on the receiving end of it, and can be kind of scary.
Is that the CA version?
This is the classic Army 134.
I know Josh will love this.
Yes.
He's my buddy Delta J. He works over at Classic Army. Yeah.
Boom, 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 boom.
That's huge.
Woo! Yeah, look at that.
It looks really well
awesome.
built. I will say, I think they've done a fine job on this one.
I'll tell you,
it shoots fast.
It is not light. Well, yeah, it's a minigun, Greg.
Well,
of course, it's going to shoot fast. Yeah. So. Yeah, and you can see the Classic Army. I don't want to hit you in the face with that Classic Army logo right there, but man, is this thing a beast.
Man, you really need to have like some guy Terminator games where a guy dresses up as Arnold Schwarzenegger and just runs around with this, because that would be epic.
Well, there was a gentleman...
Or a guy dressed up as Jesse Ventura.
Yeah, don't have time to bleed.
Don't have time to bleed. Don't have time to call my hits.
There was a gentleman at a John Liu game. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head, but it was at the juvenile delinquent facility out in Whittier. He actually was dressed as a Predator and had a CQB version of the minigun, and they mounted it to, I can't remember, I think it was an M3 scout car, but that thing was just doing some serious work. I was hiding behind a brick, just trying not to get shot by that thing, and boy, does it put out so many rounds.
Ammo storage? Battery storage?
I believe so. I believe that's actually where the motor that turns this thing. I believe the ammo storage is down here. I believe how this works is that you actually have an HPA line going to it. The battery turns the actual barrels, and then the HPA shoots it out.
Oh, so it's an HPA?
I believe so. Those are these lines right here.
That is cool.
Yeah. So it's pretty cool. I mean, honestly, like anyone who shows up with this at a field is going to get a lot of attention.
It looks really well built because, I mean, it's kind of interesting because different companies have tackled the minigun, over the years, because it's not a cheap gun to make.
No.
Very highly complicated, and I mean, you're talking about like 6 barrels rotating, shooting high velocity. But this actually looks really well built, looks really nice quality, and big hand over to the guys at Classic Army for taking this on. It's pretty cool.
So if you guys are looking at wanting to get one of these, I would highly suggest taking a look at our Santa's Minigun Mystery Box. You'll have a chance to win a Classic Army N134A2 minigun in that box, while supplies last. So if you want that chance.
How much is that mystery box?
I believe it's $125.99. It goes live on December 15th at noon Pacific Standard Time.
How much is this worth?
This is just under $4,000 at, I believe, $3,840.
So you guys do the math. That's good. Mm-hmm. That's good.
Definitely would want to be one of the folks. Wow. We're joking the other day, like, what if like a kid who can't physically carry this wins it?
Wins? Oh, that'd be hilarious.
But the dad is going to be so happy. He's like, I'm sorry, Timmy. I'm going to have to take it out for you. So
it's like, that's okay, Timmy. I'll hold this for you for a while.
They had a video at Ballahack Airsoft, which I know you're familiar with.
Oh yeah, they've been having some great videos over there lately too.
Well, they had one gentleman who had brought a minigun out. They were like, all right, let's see like how many people can make it to that fellow if everyone on the field charges him at the same time.
I saw that. It was pretty massacre-ish.
It was in slow mo.
Once people start dying, people are like, oh, this is not a good idea.
No, I regret this decision.
I regret this fully.
Yeah, but so make sure to check out the Santa's Minigun Mystery Box to have a chance to this, or if you just want to buy one yourself, you can get them on airsoftgi.com now. We just restocked a bunch of these, so if you want one, get it. It'd be cool to mount this on like a truck or something. Yeah, I wonder if Craig's interested in putting this on his thing at GamePod. That would, cool. Well, I mean, they do sort of have a minigun on that thing. It's like a fake
P90,
minigun. Yeah. It's a dual sector gear P90.
Gun.
That's actually a pretty good way to describe it. All right, so in summation, check out the Santa's Minigun Mystery Box. Make sure to check out Spartan 117GW on YouTube, as well as PTS on Facebook. PTS is live. That is right. They've got a lot of new products coming out. And Greg, thank you so much for being with us on our live show. It's good to be on here. Yeah, thank you for bringing a lot of cool stuff. Oh yeah, there's guns everywhere. Oh man, this is big. So many cool toys. Regardless, thank you guys, all of you, for joining us. This is the Airsoft GITV live show, December 8th, 2015. Make sure to stay tuned for our live show next week, and we'll see you next time, guys. Bye-bye. Bye-bye now. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.